Greetings. Welcome to Pan-African Tech Decoded with Brother Dulani. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Pan-African Tech. This is a channel devoted to all things technology and science within the African world. In this episode, we're going to be talking about AI and the African world. Join me on this journey, my people. Also, I want you to like, I want you to share, subscribe, and also to give a comment. What do you think? Do you think that we should be embracing technology? Do you think that AI is a good thing or a bad thing? Also, I'm asking you to listen to this presentation and tell me what you think about this presentation as well. So join me on this journey as we venture into AI and the African world. Thank you. Welcome to Pan-African Tech with Brother Dulani. Now, in this episode, we're going to be discussing AI and the African world. Will AI and can AI be used in our liberation and innovation and sovereignty? How can AI be positioned to assist us in our liberation, in our innovation and sovereignty? Now, as a people, we have been on this journey in the last 500 years where we have been trying to liberate ourselves from colonialism. We have been trying to liberate ourselves from enslavement and imperialism. And this has been a constant journey. Up to 2026, we are still fighting for our liberation and for our sovereignty and for our development as a people. Now, I want to bring to our people the need for us to seriously consider AI and its implication for African people. How does AI play into our present struggle for liberation? How will it help us in transforming the future? And can we use AI to transform our future with artificial intelligence? How can we create quote unquote digital sovereignty and even Pan-African innovation as we move forward? So these are some of the questions that we're going to be touching on as we move forward. Now, in the Pan-African world, we are trying to liberate ourselves and we're trying to gain control of our sovereignty and make decisions for ourselves as we move forward. Now, we have to look at how can we use technology to assist us in not only our liberation, which is the liberating ourselves from the entanglement of imperialism, from the entanglement of colonialism and neo-colonialism, and to gain control of our resources, and then now to develop our resources to better our own people. These are some of the issues that we have to contend with and we have to deal with. But let's look at how can we fit technology? How can we fit AI in particular in this frame? We have to look at it because AI isn't a luxury. At this moment, it's a powerful way for us to leapfrog over obstacles and solve pressing challenges and reclaiming our global standing through digital decolonization. We have to look at using AI to assist us in the most powerful way, because if we don't use AI to assist us, others will be using it to assist them against us. But I think that before we can dive deeper into AI, let's have some basic understanding of what AI is. Now, many of us are familiar with the traditional AI that we are all using today, the ChatGPT, the Grok, I think the Gemini, Copilot. There are so many different companies coming out and producing AI tools to use. And these are the traditional stuff. They have rules and they have instructions, and they try their best to deliver what you want. But now there's another type of AI which we are making a breakthrough in going into 2026, which is machine learning, where AI is learning from data patterns. They're studying pattern recognition and they're seeing different patterns and they're able to mimic it. And then there is the next one is the advanced AI, which is the deep learning AI, which is an advanced neural network that's mimicking human cognition. It is actually trying to mimic how the human brain works. How do we process information? How do we learn? How do we memorize information? And how do we recall information? So these machines are learning how to think and reason like a human being, problem solve and pattern recognition. And there's a lot of algorithmic, a lot of mathematics, a lot of calculation taking place within millions of a seconds, using the human brain or the human cognitive function as a neural map to move this technology forward. So as we can see, there's two paths of AI development at the moment that you may be familiar with. And one of the path is the narrow AI, which I spoke of earlier. It is the current reality that we see advertised on TV, when we on YouTube. We see this AI is being advertised to us. And it is where, you got voice assistant like Siri, Alexia, whatever, multiple names of different type of AI. You can actually have conversation with these AI. And then there's also AI that can do diagnosis, which you can use your phone right now. You can take a picture of a plant, and AI can tell you everything about that plant. If there's a disease on that plant or an animal or anything, you can actually take a picture of it, and the AI can analyze that picture and tell you what disease it is and what are the treatment and what can be applied to solve the problems. Then you got AI that can mess with your algorithms, that can, feed you different things that you like Netflix recommendations or Facebook ads. And, you know, um, it looks at what you're doing on your phone, and then it recommend things to you. And you think that you're the one who's actually doing this, but it's actually watching your pattern, watching how you stroll, watch what you like, and then it feeds you these things. So these AI is already being embedded into these search engine and these platform that we're using on a daily basis. And then it start to learn about our patterns. So these are some of the AIs that we are used to right now. AI that can draw, that can do music, that can do even videos, that can create images. AI can do a lot of things, but these are mostly specific task AI. The next level of AI development is where most of these massive AI companies are moving towards. They're moving towards this artificial general intelligence. That is the horizon that everyone is moving towards. And you will hear that word horizon. That means that they get to that level where there's that breakthrough where we have human level intelligence. With these artificial intelligent machine will be capable of any intellectual task, and they'll be autonomous in their reasoning. They don't need you to tell them what to think and how to think. They will know exactly how to reason, how to solve problem, because they're already using the human brain as a model. They take a child from the child is born till it die at 100, and you can create a machine that can learn like that and can reason as a human being. But you would take the most intelligent human being and the most intelligent child and the most, optimal environment for that child to learn. That is what this neural network will be. It's like a human being learning everything without all the other baggage that get in the way, such as emotions and stuff like that. And they are learning how to mimic emotions as well. So there is all these advancements that are coming. Now we are not at the stage of AGI yet. We're still learning. We're still trying to get there, and a lot of companies are actually in a AI race or space race or whatever you want to call it. But there is actually a race that's taking place to see which company, which country, which individual will be able to make the breakthrough first. I would love an African country. I would love African people to be the first to make that breakthrough, because whoever make this breakthrough may have an advantage. You know what I mean? A first out the block advantage that you can actually protect yourself from those who coming after you. So I know China will be there with the first move advantage. Russia would want to have first move advantage. Definitely the imperialists them in America would definitely want first move advantage. So that race is going on. And as you can see, there's a lot of attention being put into building these massive data centers. I didn't include any slides here for data centers, but there's a lot coming on stream to address these data centers that they're actually working on. So keep that in mind. Now for us, when it comes to AGI, we have to look at what are we talking about here? What are the three Pan-African scenarios where we can use AGI? And I'm gonna enlarge the screen here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So over here, we got three scenarios. We're gonna look at them one at a time. A super griot or an historian. So imagine constructing an AI with all our information, all of our history, all our oral traditions and archaeological datas and the colonial records to restore our erased chapters of our civilization and our history. Imagine getting all of the books, and all of the research, and be able to compile it, all the oral stories, and that is fragmented and all over the world and all over the place in all these museums and all these library, and you combine them in one place where we can have the West African oral history, all of it synthesized and pieced back together. Imagine to be able to document the great Zimbabwe legacy and the Bantu expansion pattern on the map. Now, you see, I put the word super griot and historian. The word for us African is actually jelly. The word griot is actually the English using of a French word. That's an English used word that is actually based on a French word, and griot is not an indigenous African word that reflect, the storytellers in our culture. The storytellers in African culture, especially from the Mende people, they're called Jele. They are the historians. They maintain the oral stories. They are the storytellers. When we was captured from West Africa and we was brought to the Americas, we took those stories with us. Our grandparents became our Jele and our Griot, and they told us the story. They told us their Anansi story, and they told us the story about our past. And a lot of it has been passed down to today. So with the AGI, we'll be able to reconstruct the African world and the African personality in a digital form and available to us to be able to interact with, and our children can interact with it, and it can preserve our culture into the future. So that's just one aspect of it. So let's move over. Number two, a hyper localized climate management. Imagine having a system where an AI that can have an autonomous management system of the Nile Basin, the Congo rainforest, the Sahel ecosystem, and managing that simultaneously with real-time irrigation and optimization, cross-border resource balancing, and drought prediction and prevention. Now, these things may sound very abstract to us at this moment, but when you're talking about irrigation optimization, you're talking about how to get water and fertilizer into certain places to optimize its growth and to preserve rainforests and ecosystem is important when it comes to farming and food production, and to be able to feed our people, and to be able to build infrastructure to be able to distribute goods and services. So when you have these kind of information available to you, it makes you more powerful. It makes you more effective in delivering services to your people. So on a grand scale, because not just for individual, but for the community and for the country as a whole to be able to plan. But when you have this type of system in place, it gives you superpower in a sense. Okay, so and our economy, our Ubuntu-based economy. I recently did on my other channel, I did a piece on African socialism, and I discussed Ubuntu and I discussed Ujamaa. Now we can design economic system rooted in our collectivism, in our in sustainability, in community well-being, and not just in GDP, which is gross domestic product, um, or in individual success story. We can bypass destructive industrialization and go straight into technological development. We can build factories that can produce and recycle goods, recycle a lot of chemicals and a lot of waste, recycle it into renewable products that can be utilized again. Again, with this, we can be able to design this kind of economy with the AI. So any errors that we have had in the past or any difficulties, we can bypass that because now we can we can account for that. We can create variables that can collect that kind of information, and we can find ways to overcome any difficulties that dealing with implementation. So we can design the system that will actually work, put it on paper, implement it in society, and where everybody can benefit. And we can have resource sustainability prioritization, where we look at the priorities in our society and we look at the kind of resources that is needed in our society, and we can take that information now, and we can be able to make decision based on storage, based on distribution, based on accessibility to this resource. And also, we can create a community-centered prosperity within our economy by designing it using AI. So these are some of the high-level thinking that we can use AI for, instead of using it for destruction, instead of using it to attack other people. But we still have to use it to defend ourselves, but also within our local economy, we can create systems that can serve us well. So as we move along with our explanation here, let's go back a little bit here. Um, so I think without Pan-African participation, AGI becomes the ultimate tool of colonization, making decision about our resources without our input. Let me explain. I think that, sorry, I think that is very important that we understand this. We cannot sit on the sideline while AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, become the ultimate tools of colonization. They will recolonize us. We become digital colonies where they colonize us digitally. So we be living into this world where they are still controlling the data. They're still controlling our culture. They control our patterns. They control our knowledge production, and we are the consumers and not the producers. So our resources is still being decision is being made about our resources that does not include us. We cannot allow ourselves to be left out of this. So we have to, either on the political level or on the community level, we have to fight to ensure that we have an input in the creation of these technology, or at least to be able to defend ourselves against the use of this technology against our people. So keep that in mind as we move forward, my people. We have to be ready to deal with that. Now, I am aware that the African Union have a few strategies that they're working on. They're looking at some continental AI strategy that takes into account the harmonizing the regulations across 55 nations in Africa to ensure that there's a coordinated development and shared prosperity using AI. So this is the strategy from the AU, which is the African Union, which is the continental body in Africa that is actually working to bring about peace and security and continental development. However ineffective it is probably the only institution that exists continental wide to address these issues continentally in Africa, and to a great extent the African world is not the best of institutions. It needs a lot of reform. It needs to be strengthened. But whenever revolutionary forces come to power in Africa and revolutionary powers be able to take control of the AU, it can be used to carry out revolutionary work on the benefit of our people. Because, like we said, there's a lot of structures, a lot of systems, a lot of institutions that are in place that are going to be needed in the future. We don't necessarily come to abolish all these institutions because we would have to rebuild them and repurpose them. Why destroy when we can just repurpose them and utilize them for what they should be utilized for? And then if we need to build more additional institution, we build. But I think we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If it's already there, all we need to do now is to repurpose it. Well, at the moment, they're saying that they want to spend $60 billion in an African AI fund. And this is the pooling of resources to transform Africa from AI consumer to AI creators and innovators. Now, that is a tall order because Africa will now have to be serious about building data centers across Africa, building getting control of our energy consumption. Ethiopia had just, I think, finished the largest irrigation dam power generating hydroelectricity plant in the world is right now in Ethiopia. So that is a strategic position. All we need now is a couple of data centers, even a dozen data centers linked to that particular energy resources. And we can also probably think about building some solar farms and some wind farms in areas and region that has a lot of wind, and particularly I would say solar farms where we can, put, you know, acres and acres and acres of land can be converted into solar, particularly in the desert area where it is unoccupied, it's unused, and then there's sun around the clock, 24 hours a day, there's sun shining. Those areas definitely should be considered for solar um, farm to be able to provide power to the data centers to be able to operate our own AI to defend ourselves from those who are now developing AI. At least we can compete because we can't just be adapting technology. We have to be able to shape the technology and shape our future on our own terms as we move forward. We have to decide what role we are going to play in the future of AI. We cannot just become consumers. And that is the point I want to make here. We have to have a strategy. And this is a continental wide strategy, but we also need a global strategy within the broader diaspora where we can have access to some form of AI that is reliable, that's in our interest, that will be doing the work for us as a people. So let's moving right along. Um, we know that right now there's some innovation hubs across the world, particularly the African world. In Lagos, in Nigeria, we got some fintech, which is some financial technology company. They're coming together with AI. I know in South Africa there is some blockchain company there that's coming together using AI. In Nairobi, Kenya, there are some major development taking place there. I know that Kenya is also building a smart city. Supposed to be one of those like Silicon Valley type city in Kenya. That I mean, Kenya have a vibrant young youth population that they can provide a lot of incubation for the African mind in Kenya. So yes, so we want to encourage the East African region to definitely make the move, build your data centers, build your smart cities. Kigali in Rwanda is also building a smart city. They're doing major work with their digital city that they're trying to build. Bridgetown, Barbados in the Caribbean is developing some AI advisory board and algorithm to help to boost food security. So AI can be used in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I know that I heard that even in Jamaica there's a plan to build a smart city by 2030 in Jamaica. So we can't just ignore technology, and while others are building technology, we sit back and watch, and then we just become consumers of it. That's not a recipe for our survival. That's not a recipe for our prosperity. It's a recipe for our dependency. We have to think about how can we create, how can we innovate and create something that is lasting, something that our children can be proud of and our people can be secure as we move forward, because AI is no joke. AI is the real deal. Moving right along. So look at this. We can use AI to eliminate illiteracy. We can personalize learning in our languages. We can have AI tutor that speak Wolof, Yoruba, Zulu, Patois, you know what I mean, Hausa, you three, all those languages, we can have our own AI language model that learn our mother tongue and be able to teach our children in our mother tongue. That would be powerful. We can use various African languages can be coded, and the AI can be speaking naturally to our children, reciting our story, telling a nonsense story, telling the history of our people, using the our own culture. So ancestral languages and the future of tech, definitely something that we want to encourage, so we can ensure that our children can master technology while honoring our linguistic heritage. That is very important. Okay, that's what, see, these are some of the ways that colonialism work. And if we're not careful, we fall into the trap. Because as long as they can have us speaking their language, they have us colonized. Like me speaking to you today, I am a result of colonization, because the colonialists have me speaking in their language, thinking in their thoughts, thinking, and I even dream in their language. When you can dream, when the oppressor or the enemy can have you dream in the language of the enemy, they have conquered you properly. And we're all in some degree of conquering and domination. And linguistics is one of the major way in which you culturally dominate and conquer people. And we need to reclaim our memory, reclaim our African tongue, our African languages. It is important, it is vital that we begin to bring forward African languages in our teaching, in our instruction, because every word that we say in English, we can find a word in an African language to express it and to deliver it. So, and we will just be just as intelligent as any Englishman, any Frenchman, any German. You can use that same, whatever field they are in, and learn it in an African language and be just as powerful in it as anyone. So just keep that in mind, my people, as we move forward. So we can also use AI to eradicate poverty with precision, because now, and I'm going to do a separate episode on it. It's called a GIS system, which is the geography information system. And what it does, you can collect information geographically about a particular area, population area, and you can be able to, gather all of the variables in that communities, and you can put all those, you can layer that information on a map, and it can tell you where all of the different things are happening. Where is the area which the most poverty, the most unemployment, the most sick, where's the abundance, where's the food storage. It can give you a complete picture where all the housing situation is, the homelessness. So once you be able to gather all that information and you put it all together on a map, and you have an AI system that can analyze it for you, and it can monitor it in real time. So you can know exactly where the difficult areas are, and how you can move effectively to solve those problems and to detect them even before they develop. This is serious high level thinking. In the past, it would require human beings to actually be keeping track of this record and keeping track of all these variables, and as they moving in real time. But now when you can use satellite and you can use AI and you can use these data and analyze them, and you can be able to have unprecedented precision in how to detect problems before they develop. It can also be used in crime fighting as well. So in areas where there's criminality, you can have a map over that area and that have all the information and all the data and all the patterns about the people, the resources, the situation in that community. So you know exactly what the situation is. And with the AI analyzing this data, you can actually pinpoint which individuals, what spot, what area, what time. It's so much thing you can be precise about just by collecting this data and have it available to you to analyze in real time. So you can actually reach people in real time. You can solve crime in real time. You can actually prevent crime from happening in real time. You can prevent people from starving, from going homeless in real time because you will have access to this information as it is unfolding. And it requires massive data collection and data processing around the clock, 24/7. And this is what AI give us the ability to do, to be able to analyze this information nonstop. So using technology to ensure resources reach those who need them the most, not just with the best connections. So again, you know, as always, when there is a problem in a society or there's a calamity or natural disaster, those who are most connected are those who are served first or those who are served more effectively. With this type of information, we'll be able to serve the most affected community. Those who need can be um, affected and to be delivered the most and the quickest. You know what I'm saying? And the first. So that is what this kind of information can help us do. So as we move right along, so let's look at the future of work, because that's a big issue that we're talking about when we're talking about AI and the African world and technology, and say how will AI be able to um, assist us as we move forward? How would AI be able to how do we fit in? What's the opportunity available to us? Or will we just be displaced by AI and pushed aside and but there are opportunities that we can get into. Some of the general ones, I will discuss them here, then I will also include some of that I would like to add on to this list. Because sometimes you're making these lists and you don't want too much to mention. So anyway, the productivity gained through AI, prompt engineer, which is becoming a big industry unto itself, designing AI interaction and optimization output. So if you know how to communicate with the AI, if you know to tell the AI how to create certain things, you can be very powerful. A lot of people got AI on their phone, on their computers, and they do not know how to use it in a powerful way. They do not know how to get the best out of the AI. They do not know how to ask the AI question. What are the key words and phrase you need to use to get the best out of the AI that you actually have in your hands? How to become super powerful? How to gain superpower from using AI? So that they call those people prompt engineer. You can prompt the AI to deliver to you what you want. That is what the AI the AI prompt engineers are there to do. So also AI developers building system for Pan-African needs. So that is what I would like to see us do. We need AI developers in the Pan-African world, all across the Caribbean and all across Africa and South America and Central America. We in the global South, we need to have our own AI development platform. We have to have our own large language model to train our own AI system to solve our issues and our problems. It is vital as we move forward. So look at the global opportunities. Working from Kingston, Luanda, Harlem for worldwide clients. I mean, now with the internet and with AI technology, you can be anywhere doing any kind of work for anybody anywhere in the world and making top income because you're producing top level um, results because you got AI as your superpower. And that is going to be a key. And AI is going to be a leveling technology where it's going to level the playing field and give great advantage to everybody. So no, so the only those who have the greatest advantage will be those who have the most powerful AI, who can do multiple things more effectively, who can do things with less prompt, do things that at the click of a finger, it can be actually carry out your action. Those are going to be the dangerous people. Those are going to be the most powerful people. But we cannot afford to be left behind in this revolution that's taking place. So, other areas that AI can be used is in healthcare transformation, AI-powered healthcare, telemedicine, and diagnostic. Mobile diagnostic machine. I mentioned to you earlier about using the smartphone. With the AI embedded in your smartphone and the AI is embedded in an app, you can diagnose skin condition, you can scan an X-ray, and you can detect diseases in real time just using your phone. These are some of the things that we can do. We can create apps. There's a platform out there right now like Lovable and Riplet where you can actually create apps to do a lot of this work to be able to solve problems in your community. Just look at around your community and see what can be done. How can an app using your phone can be able to give you information that can help you to make decision about the condition around you? And any challenges or any problem that you see, you can actually use app. Now, you know, diagnosis and actually medical treatment is one area that's going to be powerful. If you got pets, if you got animals in your house, in your yard, and they have problems, all you have to do is video the animal, take a picture of the wound, collect the symptoms, tell it to the app, and the AI will be able to guide you through possible diagnosis and treatment. This is the world we're heading into. So telehealth is going to be a big issue. You got Trinidad and Tobago is leading the Caribbean right now in telemedicine and connecting patient to specialists and the diagnosis in healthcare treatment. That's one area that AI is going to do massively. And because what we have today is the ability to have access to almost all of the medical breakthrough in our history. The AI have access to all of the scans, all the disease, the known disease, what they look like under the microscope, what they look like on charts, different level of symptoms, different, so much information is available to these AI that are highly trained, highly sophisticated. And once they become available to the common man on his phone, that will help us to even live healthier and live longer, if we apply this AI technology in the appropriate way. So we have to keep that in mind as we move forward. So yeah, and like I said, there are some brethren down there in Jamaica, a mobile clinic. And if they can only have the technology, the AI integrated into this mobile clinic with the scanners and with the different level of detection, even cameras and so forth like that, and the health monitoring that they can use to be able to attach it to human beings, the AI can do the diagnosis and provide the possible treatment, taking in consideration all of the variables, all the information about the patient. The AI can have it in real time and deliver treatment in real time. So yes, so AI-driven malaria mapping in West Africa is saving millions of lives. So, and even once a country or a government, in any government across the African world, will have an idea of where all the sick people are, where all the people that have issues, where's all of the infant mortality taking place, where's all of the heart disease taking place, where's the malaria, the fever, whatever. Once you have that information available coming from all those local communities, you can, as a health department, you can see where the issues are, and you can deploy resources in those areas to deal with those issues in real time. So AI provides us with these opportunities to be able to solve these problems in real time. So we're moving right along. So revolutionizing our physical infrastructure. So AI will have an impact there in medicine, but AI will also have an impact in our infrastructure, because now we have the ability to design on a level that we never been able to before. Because in the past, we had to rely on our architecture and the architecture and the civil engineer to be able to determine what are the possibility of physics in the design. Can we design within the realms of the physical world to build certain things? Now you give the AI the image, all of the data available to you, and it can design a city for you. It can design a road for you. It can design things that you never even thought possible, because it now is more flexible. It can think on a higher level, and also it can be able to provide you with modeling. That is something that a lot of people may not be aware of, but they can actually model the physical world in terms of what is possible with the earth, with the level of the surface level, the rocks, the geology of a particular region, the water base, the soil. you know, how can we build in conjunction with all these things? The AI will be able to figure it out. In our power grid, a smart power grid, the AI can monitor the distribution of energy to where it's needed the most. And we'll be able to create effective systems to be able to deliver this energy all over the place. So we're talking about optimizing renewable energy, integration, reducing blackouts and managing solar and wind resources. The AI can help us to optimize these things on a scale that we never seen before. Resilient construction, designing roads and bridges by simulating, that's the word, simulating the tropical and arid environment stresses, technique, um, unique to our situation, unique to our climate, unique to where we are. So with the AI, you can actually get a simulation of what a road would look like, and how would it be able to undergo the stress of X amount of cars, X amount of population. Over time, you can see the AI can give you a projection of what you can say like a 2-lane road, considering the population and the growth of the rate of growth of population. How long before this road become overcrowded, become congested? How long would it take before these things happen? And the AI can look at it and simulate it in real time and show you. You know what I'm saying? So we now have the ability to plan way ahead of time and be able to see into the future before we even get there, because the AI would now be able to use the geological information as well as the geographical information, and be able to piece together a picture of how you can construct better roads, better bridges, better ports, and so forth like that. And the AI will be leading in the design, because design will become an area that AI is going to be supercharged in. All you would need to be able to give it the right prompt. Just tell it, just give it all the information that you have available to you. And the AI will be able to design something that can last for hundreds, maybe thousands of years to come. This is the power that is on us at the moment. And one of the things that make us as African people in the African world is that have the ability now to leapfrog a lot of the destruction from the industrial eras and leapfrog straight into the technological era without destroying our environment. Because we now have the ability with AI to be able to come up with ways to be complementary to our environment as we move forward. So we're going to maximize the efficiency of our system, our ecosystem, and our water system, and our air, and our food. Everything will be maximized as we move forward. So yes, so digital sovereignty is going to be a serious issue moving forward, and I need us to understand this as a people. We have to build our own digital independence, building our sovereign cloud system. We cannot rely on foreign cloud providers forever. Our data must remain on our soil, under our laws. This is something that is vital to African people. If we're talking about sovereignty, we have to control our own data. Regional data centers across Africa, local data storage and processing is vital. Protecting and protection from foreign surveillance. We have to find a way to encrypt our own technology. Maybe we have to put into our own languages, the Wolof, the Zulu, the Xhosa. We have to find ways to encrypt and to create AI that can encrypt our technology to protect us from the intrusion from other AI. So in the future, it's going to be a battlefield of AI versus AI. So we have to ensure that our African intelligence can be greater than their intelligence. So, so economic control of digital asset is vital to us. So our digital assets will be important because with NFTs, we will have control of lands, because even that will be digitized. The blockchain will now put value in the digital world where the data itself becomes valuable. Your artwork, your music, your movies, your images, all of that become valuable, and we need to control that as we move forward. So true independence requires digital infrastructure we own and we control, and that is what you call digital sovereignty. Pan-African control of our resources. We have to have our control and ownership of our own digital infrastructure as we move forward. So that's some of the things that we have to think about. So you can feed the world through precision farming. You imagine you have these drones going around checking the farm, checking for diseases, checking if the soil is good, checking if there's any insects. So you can see all kind of way in which the technology and AI can be there monitoring everything and also applying treatment at the same time, monitoring the problem, identifying the problem, confirming the problem, and also implementing the solution to the problem. And a human being, all you have to do is monitor to make sure that everything is working as it should. This is the era. This is the time that we're moving into. Remember, Africa has 60% of the world arable land. That means that 60% of the world uncultivated land that can be used for food production is in Africa. 60% of the world arable land, I mean cultivatable land, is in Africa. And right now, with AI linked sensors, and sensors is going to be a big area. I will even do a presentation on sensors alone because sensors is a big area. With sensors used in farming, you can increase your yield by at least 300%, because you can be able to monitor the farm in real time. Because a human being is almost impossible to monitor every seed, every every plant that is growing, every piece of the crop. But with these type of technology, we'll be able to, with sensors in your farm, you can detect disease before they develop. You can detect threats before it develops and take action before it develops and preserve your crop. And your crop can go to market with a nice return for you. So Um, Africa can also be the global breadbasket. You know what I mean? We can position Africa as the world primary food producer. You know, Africa is big on agriculture. And that's one of the reasons why they came to enslave African people, because they needed great cultivators in the land that they discovered, in the so-called discovered land that they encountered and invade and dominated in the Western world, such as North America, Central America, and South America. We see how even in the Afrobean, where they brought African from Africa to these lands because Africa was specialist at farming rice, at farming, growing any crops. Africa was Africans are what you call super farmers when it comes to interacting with the land. So we can become the world breadbasket, but only this time on our own terms. We dictate the terms and conditions. We set the prices for our food that we feed the world with. We have a competitive advantage and we're going to maintain that. So, AI powered precision farming can optimize irrigation, monitor soil health, predict weather patterns, and maximize sustainable productivity. These are vital for agriculture across the world, particularly in Africa. Irrigation is a major challenge in Africa and in the Afrobean, particularly in Jamaica. There's some region where we don't have any water going into that region other than by artificial means. I mean that you'd have to pump the water in, or you collect the water by rain. There is no natural water available in those areas, and there is no piping system in certain areas of Jamaica and certain parts of Africa. So now with the AI powered precision, we can optimize the irrigation to be able to deliver water to regions and to monitor the water in region that we've never been able to do before. And the weather pattern is very important. We need to be able to predict the weather before it happens so we can prepare our farms for certain condition before it happens. And that's the great things about science, that science is predictable. And when AI is used scientifically, it can predict and it can prevent. And that is what we have to be able to do as African people, to predict and prevent as we move forward. So, preserving our culture. We talk about the digital griot. We call it the digital jelly, but most of you may be aware of the word griot. But the griot is not an African word, as I mentioned before. It's actually jelly is the African word. So the digital jelly would be able to archive our heritage. Maintain our oral history, recording and preserving our traditional stories from elders and from our ancestors. Manuscript, digitalize our manuscript. Imagine the Timbuktu manuscripts and the ancient texts from ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt can be made accessible to everyone. Everyone will be able to translate what the ancient texts meant. From the hieroglyphics all the way across Africa, we'll be able to decipher the texts of our ancient ancestors. And we can create virtual museums with 3D reconstruction of Great Zimbabwe and stolen artifacts, and the great bronze of Benin, and the great tombs of the Nile, and the monuments of the Nile, and the temples of the Niles. We now can be able to recreate those digitally, so they can be accessible for learning and for experience all over the world where our people are located. So we have to be prepared for that. And not to mention language preservation. We can use AI to preserve our languages before they become an endangered species. As there is a cultural war taking place, an ideological war for global dominance. Which culture, which language will prevail into the future? The Europeans have made it very clear that they are working hard to preserve their language, English, French, German, Spanish. They're well suitable, well acceptable, but we have to make sure that our indigenous language across Africa, Swahili, Wolof, Hosa, Twi, Zulu, all of them. We have to make sure that we preserve our patois that we have in the Caribbean. We have to be the preserver of our culture. So just to keep that in perspective. So again, we talk about mining surveillance. That's another big issue. We now have the ability to to protect our mines and our resources from extraction. Colonialism and enslavement have converted Africa into a global extraction mine where they just look at Africa as a place to come and mine our resources and to extract the wealth and the minerals out of our land. When you look at the AI can track the illegal extraction of gold, cobalt, lithium, diamond in real time to prevent exploitation. We have to implement these things. We have to put the technology in place to monitor our land, to monitor our forests, all the known existing mines. We need to have AI embedded in these mines, technology embedded in these mines to be able to monitor what's in those mines and to monitor who is taking what and in what amount. We need to do, you know what I'm saying? We need to verify everything and put everything on the blockchain where it's immutable in real time. So these are some of the things that we have to do to safeguard our natural resources. We're going to monitor our forests and we're going to monitor our ocean to protect us from pollution and disaster. So breaking through the bias. Now, this is something that I've often talked about, and I'm going to talk about it here. Western-based AI. We have to be open and honest about this part of it. The AI that we are used to now, they're Eurocentric worldview embedded in these AI. These AI is operating from for instance, if you're using anything that Elon Musk has created, it's definitely going to be embedded with Western worldview, white supremacist worldview, bias worldview. It's not going to be pleasant to African people. Because he's going to program that AI to have his value, his principle, and he's going to embed his own bias into that AI. I would not use Grok. I would not recommend us to use the one called Grok. That's the one he's in control of. And coincidentally, that's the one that the government of the United States has now given a contract to run the whole system in America. I think the government system of America, if I'm not mistaken, particularly the Pentagon, which is the Defense Ministry. So they're going to be using Grok as their in-house AI system. And Grok will be a Eurocentric worldview program AI system based on the fact that Elon Musk, as a racist, will be, and he has already done that. If you look at some of the listed on there, he has diverged away even from the more mainstream open AI, Gemini description of what happened in history. They go back and rewrite it and give a nasty view of African people, a denigrating view of African people, always trying to make us look bad. That's what racism does. And that's what the bias that he has embedded into these things. And he'll be able to misrepresent African people and misrepresent African context and perpetuate the stereotypes about African people and ignore our values and our history. These are some of the things that they will be able to do because they're controlling the technology. And we just have to be honest about it. Also, the AI, the Afrocentric AI now, we have to build this one, build on Ubuntu principle, build on the understanding that African language and culture will be the dominant language of our AI, that will reflect our diverse perspective, and it would also serve our community needs first. That the AI job is to protect us, all of us, to ensure that all of us are healthy, all of us are fed, all of us are protected, and not just a handful of people. They become rich using the AI, using the AI against your people. That should not be tolerated. So, building our own large language model, we ensure that the intelligence our children interact with understand African values, history, and the nuances in African culture. I think that's very important that we understand that the technology, the AI that we create, it understand African idiosyncrasy. It understand the nuances that exist between ourselves, how we interact with our culture, you know, our sentiment. And believe me, the technology will become that sophisticated, that sensitive, that it will understand our sensitivity. It will understand our needs and be able to interact with us in a sensitive way. So, but it is our responsibility to engage with this technology, to prepare it so we can decide how it will affect us, how it will interact with us, and what we will train it with, because it has to be trained. But with the AGI, it would not need you to train it. You just tell the AGI what you want it to do. So if you want the AGI to learn African values, history, and the nuances, and preserve our community, it would just do that. It would go and it would investigate our history, it would dig up our history, and it will find the information and it will have it available to us. That is the power of AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's what we have to become acquainted with as a people. So we have to understand, and we have to let the world know that our data is not for sale. Our digital sovereignty and our digital liberation is not for sale. Our data is our new oil, it's our value, it's our new goal. The most valuable resources of the 21st century is data, because AI technology is dependent on data. We must demand fair compensation. When AI companies are using our data or are watching us and learning our patterns and learning what we're doing, we need to ensure that we are being compensated for that. We have to ensure that that data is in our control, that we decide who get access to this data and for what purpose. So we have to keep, our data local. We have to ensure that we are the one who profiting from our data, from the pattern, because in the right hands, pattern that you use on your phone daily is valuable to somebody who's into marketing, who can use that information to make X amount of profit by analyzing the data of a local population or a country or a group of people. So we cannot be naive about that, and we have to be vigilant about preserving our data. So because digital colonization is real, we must fight for sovereignty over our data with the same urgency as we fight for political independence. My people, hear me and hear me carefully. We have to protect the sovereignty of our data. Information about who we are, and what we do, how we think, how we move is vital information, and we should be in control of that. That is our digital sovereignty, because if not, we will be colonized again, and all our information about us, we have to go to other people to attain it. We cannot allow ourselves to fall into these traps once again. So as we move along, we have to challenge. We have to look at the challenges. We have to have critical consideration. We have to challenge, there'll be challenges and ethical imperatives. We have to look at the privacy issue. We have to look at surveillance. We have to look at the possibility of authoritarian control and mass monitoring without proper safeguarding and democratic oversight, because there's a great risk that, any country, any companies can come and just control us, control our data, control our communities, and we have no control over it. Remember, we spoke about algorithmic biases, existing inequalities amplified if AI systems aren't designed with fairness and representation. The existing inequality will be amplified. That means that it will get worse if AI systems aren't designed with fairness and equal representation. The exploitation will be amplified. The poverty will be amplified if we don't get control of the AI and use it to ensure that there's fairness in our society. It is vital that we understand this. Digital divide, we need to understand about digital divide. So technology can deepen inequality if access isn't equal or democratized. In other words, people in the cities can have more access because the internet is more available to them. The technology, the smartphones and the tablets are available to them, and people in rural areas will have less access. If we don't get control of this, the AI will only make it worse. A lot of the problem that we have today, if we do not leverage AI in our advantage, this situation will get worse, because those who have AI would be able to intensify the exploitation, intensify the authoritarian control, intensify the colonization of our resources. So our path forward is we have to embed Ubuntu in our technology. Development rooted in our collective well-being, serving communities, not just the elites, and honoring our humanity above profit. We have to put people before profit. We have to ensure that equality and justice will be the foundation in the application of technology. The usage of AI, we have to ensure that it's ethical. We, as African people, have to push our government, push our corporations, and push our universities to create AI that are ethical, that will serve the interests of humanity, serve the interests of African people, and serve the interests of our community. It is important that we do that. It is vital as a people that we don't lose sight of that, because if we continue along the path that where it's just going to keep maintaining the jurisdiction and the legal system and the capitalist mind frame and the imperialist mind frame that exists today within the international order, within the global economy, if we maintaining the existing inequalities, it will only become intensified. It will only become more dangerous for us as African people. So this technology has to be able to be leveraged where it can neutralize the disadvantage that we are in. It can create a level playing field for our people to play. Because once we in a level playing field, no one can beat us. There's always have to be some shenanigans, some type of bamboozling take place to keep African people from competing on a level playing field. In every area, we have had to fight just to level the playing field to give us a chance to perform just like anyone else. And we always show ourselves to be excellence, show ourselves to be the best whenever we are in a level playing field. But our opponents, our adversaries, have always tried to maintain a disadvantage or an advantage over us and keep us in a disadvantaged position so they can always win. Hopefully, if we can embed our own Ubuntu in our own AI and our Ubuntu technology, we can be able to level the playing field and give us all the same fighting chance, and then we'll see what happens. That is what I have advocated for. So we need to think about the code that builds the AI. It must be ethical. We must create solutions for our communities. That is the key. We have to teach our children to learn coding, to be able to create the AI. Our universities right now, every university should have a department on AI, especially specifically in coding, to code the AI to be able to carry out our objectives. Our governments, it needs to regulate the AI technology to ensure that there's fairness, to ensure that the rights of our people are protected. That is the key that our governments have to do to ensure that the level playing field is there, to give us all an equal chance. And also, we must have our school system deeply inspired, deeply invested in innovation, from the elementary level to the primary school to the secondary, all the way up to the university level. We must innovate. We must preach innovation to our children, to create new products, to create new systems, to create new solution to our problems that we face with as an African people, whether we be in the Caribbean, Central and South America, in the global South, in Africa, across the continent. We have to innovate. Also, we have to keep advocating for a shared knowledge. We have to build networks and amplify Pan-African tech voices. We have to advocate that for ethical use of AI technology and all other technology. We have to advocate that technology is in all our schools. Every African child should have access to a tablet or a laptop. We should have internet connection to every school for African people. These are things that we should advocate for. Internet access in every school, a tablet or a laptop available to every student in all our school system across the Caribbean and across the Caribbean and across Africa, across the global South. And our government must regulate. And we have to decode the future and reclaim our past. And this has been the first comprehensive episode of Pan-African Tech Decoded with Brother Dulani. And my people, I want to thank you for coming on this journey with me. And do leave a comment. Tell me what you think about it. Have I touched on any issues that you think that are important that we should be focused on? Is there any area in this technology that I did not cover that you think that should have been covered in this episode? We have to be critical. We have to think carefully about what we're doing. We're moving into a world where AI will be dominant. We have to have an AI present. We have to create our own AI system that will preserve our culture and advance our development and protect us from those who want to do us harm as we move forward. So tell me what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Should we embrace AI? Should we move away from AI? That is also a perspective. Tell me why you think that way, and I'll try to respond to your comment. I want to thank you on this journey once again. Do like, do share, do subscribe, but most importantly, I want you to comment. Should African people engage in AI technology? I want to thank you once again, my people. Walk good, live good, Ashe every time.